City Lights. When Charlie Chaplin's City Lights premiered on January 30th, 1931, sound films had already overtaken the industry. Yet Chaplin, determined to keep his silent-era alter ego, the Tramp, mute, resisted the trend. He financed the production himself to retain full creative control, a bold move few in Hollywood dared attempt. The outcome? A silent comedy that delivered one of cinema's most poignant finales. Film historian Jeffrey Vance notes Chaplin painstakingly filmed the closing scene over 300 times. In it, the once blind flower girl, now able to see, finally realized the Tramp is her benefactor. Critic James Agee famously called it the greatest single piece of acting ever committed to celluloid. Biographers have speculated that Chaplin's personal struggles, an unraveling marriage, and the threat of fading relevance in the sound era may have colored the film's somber tone. Rumors persist that his perfectionism on set was partly driven by this inner turmoil. Tensions ran high during filming. Chaplin dismissed lead actress Virginia Cherrill over performance concerns, only to rehire her when reshoots proved too costly. Despite the upheaval, City Lights became a worldwide hit, earning over $5 million. Its blend of slapstick and sorrow didn't just weather the sound revolution, it forged a unique legacy, inspiring filmmakers like Orson Welles and Federico Fellini. In a decade filled with lighthearted screwball comedies, City Lights stood alone, a silent film that made audiences laugh and then quietly broke their hearts. Roman Holiday. Released in 1953, Roman Holiday appeared to be a lighthearted romantic comedy, but its ending quietly defied expectations. Audrey Hepburn, in her Oscar-winning breakout as Princess Anne, plays a royal desperate for a day away from palace life. Rome becomes her brief escape, but the joy is always fleeting. Director William Wyler's choice to shoot entirely on location, a rarity for Hollywood then, was more than a stylistic decision. Some film scholars believe it was meant to ground the story in realism, emphasizing the temporary nature of Anne's freedom. Gregory Peck, as American journalist Joe Bradley, delivers a performance filled with quiet conflict. His character gradually realized that his growing affection for Anne is doomed by her royal obligations. Their final scene, silent, distant, and devastating, has been called one of the most poignant endings in romantic comedy history. Critics praised its restraint. Later retrospectives often listed among cinema's most bittersweet farewells. Some suggest that Hepburn's wartime childhood in Nazi-occupied Holland lent her performance a haunting resilience. Whether drawn from life or crafted on set, the emotional weight of Roman Holiday lingers long after the credits, a rare achievement for a genre known for tidy endings. The Shop Around the Corner. The Shop Around the Corner, released in 1940, is often remembered as a delightful romantic comedy, but beneath its witty exchanges lies a thread of quiet sorrow. Directed by Ernst Lubitsch and set in a modest Budapest gift shop, the film follows two employees, James Stewart and Margaret Sullivan, who bicker in person while unknowingly falling in love through anonymous letters. The irony is sharp, but the loneliness is sharper. As Christmas approaches, the snowy setting and pre-war tension cast a subtle shadow over the lighthearted premise. The emotional impact peaks during the Christmas Eve climax, when Stewart's character discovers the pen pal he cherishes is the same woman he's constantly argued with. It's a joyful moment, but also tinged with regret over time lost to pride. Lubitsch's signature Lubitsch touch balances this emotional complexity with finesse. Some film historians believe the director's own experience as a German émigré during rising European unrest may have influenced the film's undertone of longing and displacement. While it wasn't a blockbuster at the time, the film's reputation grew, inspiring later works like Nora Ephron's You've Got Mail. Stewart would later cite it as one of his most meaningful roles, praising its emotional honesty. For a film built on mistaken identity and clever repartee, it leaves behind something more enduring, a sense of missed opportunities and quiet ache. The Lady Eve. The Lady Eve, released in 1941, is often celebrated for its sharp wit and screwball energy, but beneath the surface, it carries surprising emotional heft. Barbara Stanwyck plays Jean Harrington, a con artist who unexpectedly falls for her target, Charles Pike, a socially awkward ale heir played by Henry Fonda. When Charles discovers Jean's deception, the fallout isn't played for laughs. Instead, the film leans into heartbreak, with one scene, Charles's cold rejection, stripping away Jean's confident facade. Stanwyck's performance in that moment has been praised for its raw vulnerability, a rare emotional turn in a genre built on farce. Film historians suggest that director Preston Sturges may have drawn on Fonda's real-life discomfort around assertive women to heighten the tension between the leads. Whether intentional or not, it worked. The chemistry between Stanwyck and Fonda simmers with both attraction and unease. Bosley Crowther of the New York Times noted Stanwyck's ability to balance cunning with sincerity, a duality that made the heartbreak more impactful. And while the film ends with reconciliation, there's a lingering bitterness, the kind that makes forgiveness feel earned. Some film buffs speculate that Sturges deliberately blurred the line between comedy and drama to challenge genre conventions. Either way, The Lady Eve delivers its laughs with a sting, proving that even Golden Age comedies weren't afraid to break hearts. Some Like It Hot. Released in 1959, Some Like It Hot is a masterclass in hiding emotional depth beneath slapstick and screwball antics. The plot follows two musicians, Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon, who, after witnessing a mob hit, disguise themselves as women and join an all-female band. The danger they face is more than a comedic device. Survival, not just laughs, drives their transformation. The shootout they witness, inspired by the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, is fictional, but the sense of peril is real. Every joke is tinged with risk, making the humor feel precarious. At the heart of the film's emotional resonance is Marilyn Monroe's Sugar Cane. She appears carefree, strumming a ukulele and sipping cocktails, but her character is built on disappointment. Her famous line, "I always get the fuzzy end of the lollipop," elicits laughter, yet critics have long noted it as a moment of quiet heartbreak. Sugar is chasing a fantasy of love and security, painfully aware it may always elude her. Some biographers suggest Monroe's own struggles, marked by insecurity and substance-related incidents, infused her performance with a rawness that felt unmistakably genuine. Behind the scenes, the production was turbulent. Monroe's lateness and difficulty with lines became legendary, especially during the "Where's the Bourbon" scene, which reportedly took over 40 takes. Director Billy Wilder described the shoot as exhausting, and Curtis's infamous remark that kissing Monroe was like kissing Hitler fueled controversy, reflecting on set tensions. Still, the film's emotional core remained intact. Joe and Sugar's romance is built on deception, and Lemon's Jerry, as Daphne, finds unexpected joy in his new persona. The final line, "Nobody's perfect," lands more like a sigh, a quiet admission that everyone is pretending and no one truly has all the answers. The 7-Year Itch. Marilyn Monroe strikes again in 1955's Billy Wilder's The 7-Year Itch. It stars one of cinema's most iconic images, Marilyn Monroe's white dress billowing above a subway grate. Yet behind the laughs was a film quietly steeped in longing. Tom Ewell's Richard Sherman spends a sweltering Manhattan summer lost in fantasies of infidelity, his comic daydreams masking deeper anxieties about aging, loneliness, and fading relevance. Film historian Molly Haskell argued that the film's real subject isn't desire but isolation. Monroe's character, known only as the girl, is more mirage than person, an idealized fantasy who never truly connects. Her presence fuels Sherman's escapism but offers no real comfort. Off-camera, Monroe faced personal struggles. Her marriage to Joe DiMaggio had ended months earlier, and rumors from the set described her battling anxiety and frequent line forgetting. Director Billy Wilder reportedly called her a puzzle he could not solve. Some speculate that Wilder's frustrations with Monroe's unpredictability added an unspoken tension to the film's tone. The ending, where Sherman returns to his family, appears neat but feels empty. His inner void remains. For post-war audiences grappling with shifting gender roles and suburban malaise, that quiet sadness resonated. The 7-Year Itch may play as a comedy, but its undercurrent of yearning, both on screen and off, left a lasting impression. The Philadelphia Story. Released in December of 1940, The Philadelphia Story is often hailed as a high society screwball comedy, but beneath its sparkling dialogue lies a surprisingly vulnerable core. Katharine Hepburn's Tracy Lord, a socialite torn between remarriage and unresolved feelings for ex-husband C.K. Dexter Haven, offered more than just laughs. She revealed a quiet unraveling. In a pivotal moment, Tracy confides to journalist Macaulay Connor, played by James Stewart, that she's not the flawless figure others believe, sighing, "I'm such an unholy mess of a girl." That line, simple as it is, resonated deeply with audiences facing their own identity crises as the world edged toward war. Though the United States had not yet entered World War II, the era's uncertainty added gravity to the film's honesty. Behind the scenes, Hepburn's journey was equally dramatic. After being labeled box office poison in a 1938 exhibitors poll, she reportedly secured the rights to Philip Berry's play herself, then handpicked director George Cukor and co-stars Cary Grant and James Stewart. Some believe this was more than career strategy. It was personal redemption. Film scholars often cite her performance as a turning point, both professionally and emotionally. The film earned 6 Oscar nominations and won 2, including Best Actor for Stewart and Best Adapted Screenplay for Donald Ogden Stewart. But what lingered for many wasn't the champagne wit. It was the subtle ache of a woman realizing she might be her own obstacle. Bachelor Mother. Bachelor Mother, released in July of 1939, arrived just before Europe plunged into World War II. At first glance, it's a screwball comedy starring Ginger Rogers and David Niven, centered on mistaken identity and a baby left on a doorstep. But beneath the laughs, the film struck a deeper chord, especially with Depression-era audiences still reeling from economic hardship. Rogers plays Polly Parrish, a seasonal department store clerk told she'll be let go after Christmas. That moment, quiet, cold, and bureaucratic, hit home for viewers who knew that uncertainty firsthand. The twist? Polly is wrongly assumed to be the mother of an abandoned baby, and the misunderstanding snowballs into social scrutiny and forced responsibility. It's played for comedy, but the stakes feel genuine. Film historian Jeanine Bassinger called it a comedy that understood loneliness, and that's what lingers. Director Garson Kanin, only 27 at the time, kept the tone grounded. Slapstick moments are balanced by scenes highlighting Polly's isolation, especially during the holidays, where she's surrounded by celebration, but burdened with fear. Some speculate the studio softened the original ending, opting for a romantic resolution to mask the film's more sobering commentary on gender roles and survival. Whether or not that's true, the final scene, where Niven's character steps in with a grand gesture, feels more like a rescue than a resolution. It's a happy ending, technically, but it doesn't erase what came before. For many women in the late 1930s, Polly's struggle was all too familiar. Sabrina. Sabrina from 1954 may be remembered as a romantic comedy, but beneath the charm lies a current of melancholy that caught many audiences off guard. Directed by Billy Wilder and released in October of 1954 after a New York premiere in late September, the film follows Sabrina Fairchild, played by Audrey Hepburn, as she returns from Paris transformed, only to find herself caught in a love triangle layered with class tension and emotional ambiguity. While David Larrabee, the younger son of her father's wealthy employers, shows interest after her glamorous return, his affection remains shallow and fleeting, more infatuation than love. The real emotional weight falls on Linus, played by Humphrey Bogart, whose initial plan to manipulate Sabrina for business reasons unravels as he unexpectedly falls for her. His quiet vulnerability, masked by corporate logic, adds a bittersweet undertone that lingers. Linus ultimately confesses his feelings and pursues her, but the path to their union is paved with hesitation and sacrifice. Behind the scenes, rumors of tension between Bogart and Hepburn have long intrigued film historians. Some biographers suggest Bogart was frustrated by the casting, reportedly preferring Lauren Bacall and finding the production process taxing, friction that may have subtly influenced the on-screen dynamic. Edith Head's Oscar-winning costume design, awarded in the black and white category, further deepens the film's emotional palette. The now iconic black cocktail dress became more than just a fashion statement. Many interpret it as a visual metaphor for Sabrina's emotional rebirth and the cost of leaving behind her old identity. For post-war audiences, the film's exploration of class mobility and quiet longing struck a nerve. Though the final scene offers a hopeful embrace, critics have often noted a faint air of compromise, an ending that feels earned but not entirely unclouded. The Apartment. Released in 1960, The Apartment redefined what a comedy could address. Directed by Billy Wilder, the film won 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, but its emotional resonance outlasted its trophies. Jack Lemmon's C.C. Baxter leverages his apartment for career advancement, offering it to executives for their secret liaisons. What unfolds is less farce, more understated tragedy. One scene, with Baxter alone on Christmas Eve, eating a frozen dinner and talking to himself, struck a chord in an era when comedies rarely acknowledged loneliness. Shirley MacLaine's Fran Kubelik, ensnared in a manipulative relationship with her boss, brought raw vulnerability to the screen. Her self-inflicted overdose attempt, a moment that shocked audiences, was nearly unprecedented in mainstream comedies at the time. Critics were divided. The New York Times praised its sardonic brilliance, while the Catholic Legion of Decency condemned it for its moral ambiguity. Wilder, an Austrian Jewish filmmaker who fled Austria after the Nazi annexation in 1938, often explored themes of alienation. Some film historians suggest Baxter's outsider status mirrored Wilder's own feelings of displacement in Hollywood. Legends suggest the film's bittersweet ending, where Baxter and Fran reconnect over a card game, was a compromise between Wilder's cynicism and the studio's desire for hope. It's a comedy, certainly, but one that lingers for its melancholy as much as its wit. Mr. Roberts. In 1955, Mr. Roberts dared to blend humor with a quiet sense of loss. Set aboard a Navy cargo ship during World War II, the film opens with playful antics, laundry fights, palm tree sabotage, and a crew's revolt against a domineering captain. Yet beneath the jokes lies a deeper frustration. Henry Fonda's Lieutenant Doug Roberts, desperate to transfer to combat duty, embodies the disillusionment of countless servicemen kept away from the front lines. Fonda, himself a Navy veteran, reportedly clashed with director John Ford over the film's tone. Accounts suggest Ford's controlling approach and substance-related incidents led to such severe on-set tension that Mervyn LeRoy was brought in to complete the project. That behind-the-scenes turmoil may have intensified the film's emotional impact. The most powerful moment arrives late, when the crew receives a letter revealing Roberts' death. Off-screen, abrupt and devastating. No music, no dramatics, just stunned silence. Critics noted the tonal shift, but audiences embraced it. Veterans especially appreciated the film's honest depiction of wartime absurdity. The Academy recognized it with nominations for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor for Jack Lemmon, and Best Sound Recording. While some believe Ford's early direction preserved the film's emotional restraint, others credit Mervyn's later touch for making the final blow more poignant. Regardless, Mr. Roberts proved that even in comedy, the cost of war can strike with unflinching clarity. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment. Also consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to get notified of our new videos each week. Thanks for watching.